Hey guys, Unbound Citizen here. Welcome back to the channel. Today's video we're going to be going over a recent range trip that I had where I took the Glock 43X out and got some shots in on it after not carrying it for a while. Typically in the wintertime I put it away and opt for my Glock 19 for the wintertime fall carry, but with the summer coming back around and getting a lot hotter out, I typically bring the 43X out. With that being said, I haven't shot the Glock 43X in several months. It's been put away, haven't shot it, haven't brought it out, anything like that. So I like to go to the range, make sure everything's still working well. Flashlight's good, you know, red dot's working like it's supposed to, maintain zero, that kind of thing. Just making sure the firearm's functioning like it's supposed to before I start everyday carrying it again and relying on it for defense. So with that being said, the footage here you see is the first trip back out to the range with it after not carrying it for a while. And it perfectly highlights why I do this. We ran into some issues with shooting where the slide wasn't locking back after the last round was being shot from the magazine. For me, that's a big issue because I typically, when I reload, that's how I manipulate sending the slide back forward, putting another round in the chamber. So the fact that it wasn't staying back on the reload and I'm having to physically re-rack it to get it to, you know, load another round into the chamber and be ready to go is a problem for me. It's not supposed to function that way. It's supposed to lock back after the last round is sent out of the magazine, so it's an issue, but it's specifically a bigger issue for me because it's such a muscle memory thing for me to send slide forward that way. With that being said, you're going to see in the video me trying to troubleshoot it here at the range just quickly, just inspecting things, looking at it, trying to figure out what's going on. And long story short, we didn't figure out the issue at the range. We just kind of kept shooting it, getting some more rounds on it, getting used to it, that kind of thing. It was functioning fine otherwise. It's grouping well. I felt proficient with it. Everything seemed to be working well except for that slide lock issue. So fast forward, I come home, do some more diving in on it and, you know, checking to see if I can figure out what's going on with it. And I get looking at the magazines, which is a common source of problems. So most people know that many people that carry a Glock 43 X variety will complain about a 10-round magazine capacity on the factory Glock mags. Fast forward, they'll start looking aftermarket, trying to figure out how to get more capacity out of the platform. One of the frequent options that people go to is the 15-round mags. Two of the popular ones are either Shield Arms or PSA micro dagger mags. For me, I went with the PSA micro daggers. I didn't want to have to go through the trouble of swapping out the mag release for the Shield Arms metal one. It's my understanding that you can't use those on regular Glock mags because the metal will chew them up, and you can't use the polymer on the Shield because it will chew up the mag release. So all that being said, the PSA mags, they at least claim that it won't chew them up. I've never had an issue with them so far, so I got the PSA micro daggers. What I was able to do, investigating some of this at home, was that the followers appeared to not be on one of the mags. I've got two of them. On one of the mags, it appeared that the follower wasn't coming up quite as far as the other one, which would explain why it may not be activating the slide lock lever to go up and hold the slide back. On this range trip, it was sometimes locking back, but the majority of the time wasn't. I didn't notice that it was just one mag while I was there. To be honest with you, I think I only used one of the mags because it occurred pretty quickly, and then I just started trying to replicate it. So I probably didn't even swap the mags out. And that being said, that seemed to make sense on why that slide wasn't locking back. Fast forward, that was obviously, you know, a potential issue with the mag. I reached out to PSA, and honestly, their customer service was pretty good. They immediately said, like, hey, we have an updated follower and spring kit for that particular magazine. We're going to go ahead and send you one. I responded back to the email and said, like, hey, I've got a second magazine. It doesn't seem to be having this same issue, but do I need to go ahead and purchase a follower and spring kit for that one as well to make sure that it prevents the issue? And they kindly said, we're going to go ahead and send you 2 sets of these updated kits for these magazines to take care of you. Fast forward 7 to 10 days later, I get them in the mail. I install them. When I disassembled and took the other magazine out, one of the springs looked like it had It's hard to say because they're sprung, they're coiled and everything anyway. But one of them did look like it might have been malformed a little bit, and maybe that was the issue. Not really sure. They didn't really tell me what the updated kit was for, or what they did to change it to make it the updated version. But the only things I noticed on it was the magazine follower color was different. But I would have to imagine that they either upped the strength on the springs, changed the spring material. I'm not really sure. This is just guesses, but something tells me that they did something different with it to address that issue, because it seemed, they didn't specify this, but it seemed like this was a common thing. I mean, they made an updated kit for it. So that being said, they had good customer service, but I did experience issues with the magazines originally. So at this present time, I have not taken the updated, I have not taken the magazines with the updated followers and springs back to the range to confirm that the issue doesn't occur with these. And currently I'm carrying that pistol with the factory mags from Glock, which I'm confident in. I am going to take the gun back to the range here very shortly and confirm that, one, the slide issue doesn't occur at all with the factory mags, because that would be troublesome. That would lead me to believe that there's a problem with the firearm itself versus the magazine, but I suspect that's not going to be the case since I saw an issue with one of the magazines. But there could be two things going on at once. It's possible, but I suspect that it was just that magazine. I'm going to take the pistol back to the range, confirm that it doesn't happen with the factory mags. I suspect that it won't, like I said. And then after that, I'm going to take the new updated spring and followers replaced mags and make sure it doesn't occur with those. With that being said, until I extensively get a lot of rounds on these magazines, I will not be carrying these as my everyday carry anymore. To me, it's just too risky to have that problem. Not going to say that it's not fixed. I don't know yet. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't fixed, but I'm not going to rely on feeding my everyday carry firearm with a magazine that experienced an issue until I know that I can lean on these more. Again, PSA was great customer service wise, but for me with an everyday carry item, I gotta know that I can rely on it, and the Glock mags I know are very reliable. With all that being said, I just thought it was a great opportunity. I was going to talk about this range visit anyway, and just kind of talk about, like, hey, always do this. Even if there was no malfunctions, just talk about it. But it was a perfect example of why I go out and do this. It perfectly caught why you need to test things before you everyday carry it, why you need to ensure after you put something away for a period of time that it still functions the way you expect it to when you put it away. It just really highlights that if you're going to rely on something that is potentially going to be something you use in a defensive scenario to save your life, you need to make sure it works. And, you know, maybe I got a linen with that particular one mag. Maybe I never have an issue again, but like I said, I'm going to make sure I test these updated spring and follower kits extensively before I everyday carry them again. Guys, I just wanted to make sure that, you know, kind of put this reminder out there. This video is just for, you know, entertainment purposes and a friendly reminder to, like, test your gear, get out and shoot it, make sure it's working right, and address any issues if you find any. I'm not a licensed gunsmith or instructor or anything like that. I'm just a gun guy, and found this to be entertaining and a good reminder. So, by all means, if you like the channel, like the content, go on over, give me a subscribe, hit the notification bell, leave me a comment, let me know you like this content and want to see more stuff like this. Enjoy the shooting up above, and by all means, drop down in the comments below if you've had any issues with either the Shield Arms mags, the PSA mags, or if you've ever had an issue with a factory Glock mag. I personally have never had any issues that I can, like, pinpoint to a Glock magazine, but I'm sure it happens. I'm sure other people have had it happen. Anything can fail, but by all means, just drop down in the comment, let me know, and enjoy the rest of the video. Unbound Citizen out. Make sure to like and subscribe. Thanks, guys.